Hey guys, it's Jay here with another edition of Faith Evolved. Today's episode is called, With All the World Religions, Which One is Correct? The inspiration for today's video is Morgan Freeman. Yeah, he's got that calm, cool, and collected voice and persona. And some of his responses to questions that he has in interviews are quite savage, if you watch some of his videos on YouTube. And he has an interesting and almost dry sense of humor. And one time I was watching this interview with him where he was asked about his religious beliefs. He said that he believes in God and that he believes in himself, the same person. I was kind of taken aback at that. I wasn't sure if he was joking or not, but he seemed to portray this image that he's God or he's his own God. He's actually played God in a couple of different films, Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty, and now even has a documentary called The Story of God, where he goes around the world, different countries and cultures, to get their perspective on God or a higher power. Now, if you grew up in America, most likely your religion of choice, or maybe it wasn't your choice, was Christianity. Either you're a Catholic or a Pentecostal, Baptist, Lutheran, Assemblies of God, Methodist, etc. And there's tons of different denominations besides that to choose from. And of course your sacred book would be the Bible. And if you grew up in the Middle East, your choices are, either you're, a Muslim of the Islamic faith and you have the Quran, or if you grew up in Israel, most likely you'd be a Jew and you just have the old, what they call the Old Testament in Christianity, the Torah. Okay? So, and then we have, of course, other countries. We have the Asian countries, which a lot of those folks there are Buddhist. And in India, you might find a lot of Hindus. And, countless other religions throughout the world. Okay? So, now I grew up a Christian, specifically Protestant. Okay? And I've attended several different denominations over the years, such as Assemblies of God, Messianic, Church of Christ, and Baptist. And of course, our sacred book of choice is the Bible. But as time went on throughout my, journey, I would start questioning things and discovering that there's many different versions of the Bible. You have the King James, you get the NIV, the NLT, NASB, and countless other versions of the Bible. But what you probably didn't know is, unless you really are a student of religion, is that this isn't just one Bible to pick from. I mean, you have like 3 different Bibles that have different amounts of books in them. Like you got 66 Protestant books, you got the Roman Catholics, which have 73 books, and then you have the Eastern Orthodox, which have 78. And not to mention other sects of Christianity, which even some Christians might not even consider real Christians, like Jehovah's Witnesses, and they have their own version of the Bible called the New World Translation. And then there are some Christians that believe in not only the Bible, but the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. So in addition to the Bible, those are also their sacred texts. And those would be of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as Mormons. Now, for even more confusion, you have tons of channeled works from spiritual mediums, coming out from the past 100 plus years. You have like A Course of Miracles, Abraham by Esther Hicks, The Law of One, of the Raw Material. Paul Selig has a bunch of different channeled works, including I Am the Word, which I'm listening to now just out of curiosity. And then there's one that I personally enjoy, which is not technically a channeled work, but it did arrive from several celestial beings, if you will, and that's called the Urantia Book. And of course, there's tons of other ones out there. Those are just a few of the myriad of choices out there. And more you're seeing spirituality come to the forefront of human consciousness, especially in modern times. Churches are having revivals, people being healed and delivered. You got televangelists like Benny Hinn, Joel Osteen, John Hagee, T.D. Jakes, Jimmy Swaggart, and tons of others. Some with more or less questionable ethics and or theology, to say the least. All emphatically preaching the Word of God to millions. You have a myriad of spiritual teachers coming out of the woodworks, all the way back to like Edgar Cayce, and then you have Alan Watts, and then coming up more recently, Abraham Hicks, Eckhart Tolle, and then folks like Marianne Williamson and Teal Swan, and countless others. People have had transcendent spiritual experiences by meditation or astral projection. Some people have had near-death experiences where they have seen God, Jesus or their past loved ones who tell them all these wonderful things about God's love that awaits us in the afterlife. But it's not their time yet, so they must go back. You got all these light workers and empaths and yogis and people using psychedelics like mushrooms, ketamine, LSD, DMT, and all these people who are tapping into the spiritual realm and so sure of themselves that they know that there is a God or source or something bigger and higher than ourselves. Some are hell-bent on proving that their way to God is correct, while others go as far as saying we are all gods. Some are somewhere in the middle. But, how do we navigate all this? My head is spinning just considering all these different experiences that people have with spirituality. You ask someone what they believe, even within the same religion, and they'll tell you something unique. Not exactly the same exact experience as everyone else. In the entire world, not one single person has the same exact experience with God. It's almost like we have a religion or a spiritual practice for each person on the planet. That's it. That is it right there, folks. It took me many, many years to finally come to the conclusion about the real nature of religious experience. All religions have got it right, but all religions have also got it wrong. How is this so? Because as the Christianese saying goes, Christianity is not a religion, but a personal relationship with God. And they're quite onto something with that. I would like to restate it as such. Religion is the personal practice of your personal relationship with God. This is why I was tormented for so long attending Christian churches, seeing others around me get it, feeling God's peace, love, and presence. Well, I would feel like I was on the outside looking in. I was trying to do it their way, living my faith vicariously through them. I didn't realize that a fragment of God is within me, and God is living vicariously through me. The only way for anyone to truly know God is to experience Him for themselves. It cannot be any other way. Since we're all unique individuals, we'll all have our own unique religious experiences. So I want to read a couple quotes here to really bring this point home. And of course, I'm going to use the Ranchi book because that's what I'm currently familiar with and feel the most peace with its explanation about religion. This is from paper 159. The world is filled with hungry souls who famish in the very presence of the bread of life. Men die searching for the very God who lives within them. And that quote is attributed to Jesus. Here's another one here from paper 5. The divine presence cannot, however, be discovered anywhere in nature or even in the lives of God-knowing mortals, so fully and so certainly as in your attempted communion with the indwelling mystery monitor, the Paradise Thought Adjuster, which is the Spirit of God dwelling within you. What a mistake to dream of God far off in the skies when the Spirit of the Universal Father lives within your own mind. Here's another one from paper 148, also attributed to Jesus. No more shall suffering mortals be denied the comfort of knowing the love of God and understanding the mercy of the Father in heaven. Do you not comprehend that God dwells within you? That He has become what you are, that He may make you what He is. Now, this doesn't mean that we have it all right. We are human and only have a finite view of the infinite. We won't know the full truth of God until we stand face to face with Him, as it were. So why fight over our differences? We should be doing everything we can to work towards spiritual unity, not spiritual uniformity. Jesus was our best example of the Father's love. The way He loved God and the way He loved His brothers and sisters is the best example of a religious faith and living that we have. If we focus on that instead of the divisions within the myriads of religions and the denominations within religions in this world, we will see much greater spiritual progress. Remember, folks, everybody has their own religion, or should I better state it, everybody has their own personal relationship with God. And that's the only relationship and the only religion that will ever make sense to you. Thanks and God bless.